Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday morning, and I hope you had a good Sunday. It was a rainy, gloomy day yesterday, but today the sun is out and it looks like a start of another beautiful week. Just a couple of announcements. I'm going to be changing the format of this a little bit. I'm going to start doing these at 9 o'clock on Monday morning rather than 8 o'clock. Next week we'll convene at 9. And I'm going to begin bringing in guest speakers to talk about different topics, people to interview. I hope to do that weekly, but I may not have somebody every week, in which case I'll just ramble about something myself. um, but if you have a specific topic, someone that you'd like me to interview or talk to, please put it in the comment box and I will certainly see it. If you have a question or a suggestion for a topic, by all means, put that in the comment box. I won't be able to see that till I'm done with the recording because it's just me today, but maybe in the future, if I'm interviewing people, I'll have an opportunity to see those questions. But anyway, so next week, 9 o'clock rather than 8 o'clock. And I hope you can join us. It'll be a little bit longer than my typical 5-10 minutes because well, maybe next week it won't. I'm not sure who I'll be interviewing yet next week. But if I have somebody to interview, it'll be a little bit longer. So I hope you can still join me. And of course, these are being recorded and posted on Facebook. So if you can't make the 9 o'clock time, you can always come dial in later and see what we're up to next week. But today, what I wanted to talk about was due diligence. I'm sure it's a phrase that um, uh, many people have heard and wonder, what does that mean when you say, I'm going to do my due diligence? And in real estate, we talk about doing our due diligence all the time. Due diligence comprises of different types of things for different types of properties. So, on a condo, for instance, you would want to take a look at board minutes, you'd want to take a look at budgets, you'd want to know what's going on. Are there any big capital improvements that are going to require special assessment? Is there enough money in reserves? If there's not, particularly in a smaller association, like say a 3 flat or a 6 flat, it's very common for those small associations not to have money in reserves, which can be a problem for you to even get a mortgage because lenders do the same due diligence that you should be doing. They want to make sure they're putting up 80, 90, 95% of the dough in the transaction, and they want to make sure that it's a solid deal. So if there's not money in reserves, for instance, it'll be difficult to even get a mortgage on that condo. Um, so that would be the kind of due diligence you would do for a condo. On a multifamily, you'd want to take a look at rent rolls. You'd want to see maybe actual bills for electric and gas and heating bills and scavenger. In the city of Chicago, if it's a 4-unit building or less, the city pays for the scavenger, but if it's 5 units or more, scavenger trash pickup is what I'm talking about. Scavengers trash pickup is something that the owner would have to provide. So you'd want to take a look at, particularly in a multifamily building where someone is buying it as a investment. It's important to have the income and expenses and the leases. And there's a lot of due diligence that goes into a real estate transaction. Part of your due diligence is your home inspection. Um, you, and anytime you have a contract on a property, there is a due diligence period where you have the right to, once you come to an agreement with the seller on terms and price and all of that, then there's what I call your due diligence period. It typically takes a week, maybe as long as two. In a more complicated deal, it could be even longer than 2 weeks, but that's pretty much the norm. It is a week, 10 days, something like that would be typical due diligence period. If while you're doing your due diligence, you find out that there's something that doesn't sit with you right in a condo, you're finding out that there's no money in reserves or that there's a big special assessment that's coming down the pike, you have the opportunity to kill the transaction. Um, so that is due diligence. What I like to do with my sellers, because the due diligence period can certainly kill a deal, is I like to try and get all of those ducks in a row before we even get into a contract. When we go to market, um, our MLS allows us to post additional documents under the listing. There's a place where agents can go and pull up things like rent rolls. And I have my sellers fill out a document called a fixture disclosure: when they did what to the property, when was the roof put on, when were the appliances replaced, was the boiler replaced, those kinds of things. What about the windows? Because in today's world, um, there are no secrets anymore. Transactions tend to be much more transparent than they were when I was a new agent. The rule was caveat emptor, let the buyer beware. But those days are long behind us. And today, it's just, you may as well get it out there and let people know, because you don't want some unhappy surprise killing your transaction. So due diligence, very, very important part of any transaction. How do you go about getting all of that information? Well, that's why you need a real estate agent, particularly one that's experienced, with some expertise, knows what questions to ask, knows how to ferret out the information for you. Particularly as a first-time buyer, it's hard to know everything you need to know. Internet notwithstanding, um, it's certainly important to have somebody with experience who understands what the questions are, the right questions. So that's due diligence, and that's my job as your agent, would be to help you provide that to a buyer, so it doesn't kill a transaction. Or as a buyer, it's my job to help you get that information from the seller. So there you go. So next week, remember, we start at 9 rather than 8. And if you have any questions about or any suggestions for future topics, any questions about due diligence, by all means, put them in the comment box and I will get back to you. Or if you have anyone that could use my services, uh, help ferret out due diligence, by all means, let me know and I'd be happy to help them. Bye for now. Have a great week.